The Viridian Forest in Kanto is probably the first area in Pokemon where I truly struggled. Sure, as an 8-year-old, beating my rival and walking directly north from Pallet Town was also a challenge, but Viridian Forest is a maze, with trainers who can poison you. To relive the nostalgia of getting lost in this forest, I've decided to play through Pokemon Fire Red using only the Pokemon you can get in Viridian Forest. In other words, I will only have a team of 3. And to make it more challenging, I won't use items in battle. Let's see if I can do it. I start by picking Bulbasaur to give my rival the Fire Flyer. I become a temporary mailman for Professor Oak, and after a few minutes I enter Viridian Forest, where I find a Caterpie, Weedle, and eventually a Pikachu. And that's it. That's my entire team. Not exactly powerhouses at the moment now, are they? I beat all the trainers in the forest home, as well as plenty of wild Pokemon, till my bugs evolve 2 times into Beedrill and Butterfree. This evolution gives me a false sense of security, so I decide to give Brock a try, even though I'm at a major disadvantage and underleveled. Butterfree does manage to take out Geodude with confusions, but Onix, not so much. He Rock Tombs a couple of times, and I have my first whiteout. Not a total surprise, to be honest. I mean, I did try to beat him with bugs and an electric rat. It's at this point I realize I forgot to fight my rival, so let's do that really quick. Beedrill and Pikachu tag team the Pidgey, and being 2 levels higher, he takes out the Charmander too. Not really a surprise there. It's nice to have a victory though after that gym battle. I level up a few times and return to the Pewter City gym, and now I have a better strategy. This time, I'll try not to lose. Good plan, huh? Once again, Geodude poses no real threat as he defense curls to death while being confused. Butterfree then stays in to poison Onix. She doesn't know Sleep Powder just yet. I then swap to Pikachu to stall as long as possible with Growl, and it seems to work out. He dies, but at that point Butterfree comes back out to use Confusion for the win. I expected to need to level up a bit more here, but I'll take that win. We get through Mount Moon without any real trouble, taking a useless fossil in the process. As soon as I get to Cerulean, I head north to Battle Blue. In this battle, I show off my main Butterfree strat, which will be to use Sleep Powder. With Compound Eye's ability, it's practically a requirement for this bug. Pikachu almost dies to Charmander, but he survives, and Abra is obviously defeated too. For being a bit underleveled, that wasn't too bad a battle. I make my way to Bill's house, defeating most of the trainers around here, but by the time I get to Misty, I am still underleveled. That's fine, let's just see how it goes. Unfortunately, not super well. Beedrill struggles hardcore against Staryu, mainly because of confusion and the fact that I didn't want to waste a Person Berry right now. He eventually does it, but Starmie wrecks the rest of my team. We never really stood a chance, actually. And you won't stand a chance at seeing any more of my videos if you don't subscribe to the channel. So what are you waiting for? I level up a bit, and on attempt 2, get really close to winning. That is, until Misty heals, so it wasn't really all that close. On attempt 3, it comes down to Beedrill versus Starmie, and after a Focus Energy, I'm in a really good position here. But Fury Attack misses at the critical moment, which spells my doom. Fine. I level up a little bit more, getting to level 21, where Beedrill learns Twin Needle. It may only have 50 power, but Beedrill gets the stab boost, and this star is Psychic, so it actually helps quite a bit. For the life of me, I did not expect Misty to be tougher than Brock. That was a surprising turn of events. On board the SS Anne, my Pokemon are, for perhaps the first time, over-leveled. I've been battling a lot of these trainers. The end result is utter defeat on Blue's part. Even his Kadabra stands no chance against the newly learned Twin Needle. I feel like I'm starting to get into the groove of things now. One garbage puzzle later, and it's on to Lieutenant Surge. Beedrill starts with a Focus Energy, boosting his crit rate, and then just Twin Needles through Surge's entire team, getting the occasional crit. I was concerned about Raichu a bit, what with his doubled teams, but it turned out to be a non-issue. Great job, Beedrill! I guess I gave Pikachu Mega Kick for nothing. Rock Tunnel is a bit of a concern, but I get through mainly unscathed, just in time to fight Blue again in the Pokemon Tower. After defeating Pidgeotto, Pikachu learns his best move, Thunderbolt, just in time to blow away Gyarados. The rest of the battle goes smoothly enough, with Beedrill taking out Execute and Kadabra, while Butterfree does what she does best, Sleep Powder and Confusion. Though pretty soon, she will get an upgrade. First, Pikachu has been feeling left out since my other two guys evolved ages ago, so one stone later, and he too reaches his full potential. Before facing Erica, I head to Saffron to get the Psychic TM for my Butterfree. Who else would I give it to? I start with her to defeat Victreebel after getting paralyzed. Tangela is quickly defeated after Beedrill focus energies again, but Vileplume takes some time because Twin Needle does neutral damage. In the end, it didn't matter, as Beedrill is barely hurt at all. Not only did that gym give me the next badge, but I also got Giga Drain, which I promptly also teach to Butterfree. This will come in handy right now, actually. With that Giga Drain, Butterfree absolutely wrecks the Pokemon that used to be a huge issue for my team. Rock and ground ones to be specific. You know, like the one Giovanni uses. He also has a Kangaskhan, but with Sleep Powder and Psychic, that's not an issue. I normally hate cycling road because of all of these trainers, but now it's actually a great place for Butterfree to practice what she's about to do to Koga. But first, I return to Cerulean in search of a Twisted Spoon. Abras are rare here, and only have a 10% chance of holding it thanks to Compound Eyes, so this could take a while. Or, it could be literally the very first Pokemon I find. That was pretty awesome. Holding that spoon in her little hands, Butterfree's Psychic gets a bit of a boost. Coughing is simply taken down, but Muck spams Minimize, making me miss Sleep Powder 3 times in a row, which is not great. Eventually, I just go for Psychics, and it works, though Butterfree does get Toxicked. Since she's losing health, she can't take on the Wheezing, but Raichu can with a couple of Thunderbolts, defeating the Ninja Master. Though it's clearly not necessary, I challenge the Fighting Dojo Master to a battle for the experience and to humiliate him yet again. I may not have a Psychic Pokemon, but Butterfree, at least in my mind, is an honorary Psychic, and she proves it by wrecking his team. With the ability to surf, I go to the power plant in search of a magnet. If the Twisted Spoon was any indication, I should be done in minutes. Turns out, I used all of my luck the first time because now I cannot find a held item to save my life. After what felt like an eternity of searching, I just give up. Maybe I'll try again later, but for now, I leave, dejected and magnetless. At least I don't need it to get through Silph or to take on Blue. Why he keeps sending his Gyarados against my Raichu, I have no idea, but it makes it easy for me. Most of this battle is easy enough, but I do end up losing Beedrill to a Rogue and Vicious Charizard while waiting for a Future Sight. It's still not an issue, it's just been a while since someone died in a major battle like that. I ignore the dude who wants to give me a Lapras because, believe it or not, they cannot be found in Viridian Forest, and I head to Giovanni, where I once again start with Butterfree, who can Psychic and Giga Drain most of his team. This time though, I decide to give Beedrill some time to shine with a Brick Break. Apparently it's a move this bug can learn. Speaking of Beedrill, I've been waiting for the Sabrina battle for a long time. She is, at least in my opinion, one of the tougher Kanto gym leaders, so using a Beedrill to agility and then Twin Needle all of her Psychic Pokemon is a bit embarrassing for her. Butterfree just needs to come out at the end to mop up this little moth, and that was not hard at all. Blaine could be a bit of a challenge. After all, I do have 2 bugs, but I also have a plan, and that plan is to Rain Dance. Not only does that make Fire Blast much weaker, but it also lets Raichu use Thunder with Abandon. He does have to reset the rain after Rapidash stalls it out by stubbornly surviving several Thunders, but that just means there's fresh water to Thunder Arcanine when he eventually comes out. And I am pleasantly surprised how easily that battle went. Now, I don't have the whole battle recorded, but I was leveling up against some Viridian City gym trainers, and I got into this horrible position where my 2 bugs are dead, and Raichu is left alone against a Rhyhorn. Since he only knows electric moves, I'm certainly about to wipe. So I super speed to get it over with, but it turns out Rhyhorn used Takedown, killing himself in the process. That was a close one. I don't want to ruin my streak here because I haven't whited out since Misty. We've had Giovanni battles before, so this one is nothing new. Between Giga Drains and Twisted Spoon Psychics, this last gym leader can't do anything to Butterfree. Nidoqueen is the only one who even survives a single hit, not that it matters at all. At this point, I'm feeling pretty good about myself. After all, I just earned my final badge. So even though I'm slightly underleveled, I head towards Indigo Plateau to meet up with Blue once again. Things are going well enough for a while, till his Charizard, who is 5 levels higher than me, survives a Thunderbolt, if only I had a magnet, and slows down Raichu. Next turn, a Flamethrower does her in, and even though Charizard is near death, neither my underleveled Butterfree nor Beedrill is fast enough to do anything before being Charbroiled. So I white out at the very entrance to the Elite Four, ruining my streak. After a bit of leveling up, we try it again. Pidgeot and Rhyhorn are defeated easily enough, and this time against Charizard, Raichu rain dances just in case he is killed. But he avoids a Scary Face, responding with a Thunder to take him out. The rest of the battle goes more or less how you would expect, though I am surprised that Beedrill survives an Alakazam Psychic. I did not expect that. Before entering the Elite Four officially, I do return to the power plant and eventually steal a magnet, because I think I'm going to need it here. For Lorelei, Raichu is able to rain dance, and then thunder most of her team thanks to a magnet. Lapras does survive, but can't do enough to Raichu. I had planned on Beedrill finishing off her Jinx, but that ends up not working. Raichu also dies to Jinx, leaving it all up to Butterfree, but she manages to do it. I actually lose to Bruno the first time because his Machamp wakes up too early and Rock Tombs Butterfree. This results in his Onix taking out the rest of my Pokemon. I decide to redo the Lorelei battle, just for some experience, before trying the Bruno fight again. This time things go a bit better. I do sacrifice Raichu to Machamp, but it ends up working nicely as Butterfree gets a crit. Then, with some more Psychics and a Giga Drain, Butterfree, almost all on his own, defeats Bruno. How embarrassing that was to lose to Bruno, of all people. For Agatha, I start by using my very last Person Berry, so hopefully I don't have to restart the Elite Four completely. Butterfree Psychics the first Ghost, and then I swap to Raichu to take out the Golbat and Arbok. The stronger Gengar uses my own strat against me to put Butterfree to sleep. That is so rude. Raichu is surprisingly strong enough to come out and defeat him, and then Butterfree wakes up to defeat Haunter. Now things are going decently well, but not well enough, because Lance is far too tough for me. I can consistently get past a Gyarados and a single Dragonair, but his Dragonite is just too much for me. I try this fight multiple times, and it's never particularly close, to be honest. I mean, there is always the option of spamming Double Team with Raichu and hoping that I win, but I don't want to go that route because it's so lame. Instead, after numerous losses, I decide that I simply need to level up a bit more, so Dragonite is not 5 levels higher. To that end, I use the Verse Seeker for the first time in years and realize that, without the Sevi Isles, leveling up for the Elite Four really sucks, and it takes way too long. But I find a couple of spots that are okay, where Raichu can spam Thunderbolt, while my bugs hold experience share. Eventually, they all get around level 60, and I think it's time to try again. But I'm going to go even faster this time. With those 6 additional levels, Raichu now blows through Lorelei's team without even trying. Bruno still requires a bit of luck, because if Sleep Powder misses at the wrong time, I could lose, but thankfully that doesn't happen, and the only one who wakes up prematurely is Hitmonlee, who just uses a Mega Kick. Nothing too concerning for my bug. Even though I don't have any more Person Berries, it turns out I don't need them to defeat Agatha. Butterfree and Raichu team up to defeat this Poison Lady without any real trouble. By the way, Beedrill, who has done nothing this Elite Four run, has had an experience share, because I still want him to get some experience, even if he's just, hanging around in the back. After all, he will be part of my Lance plan. After Raichu Thunderbolts Gyarados, Beedrill, who now knows Return, can two-shot the Dragonairs. Even now being the same level, Butterfree's Psychic is still quite weak against Dragonite, but lucky for me, he stays asleep for quite a long time, allowing Butterfree to single-handedly defeat this pseudo-legendary, albeit just barely. With that dragon out of the way, Lance's 2 remaining Pokemon are no issue, and I finally defeat the Elite Four. Woohoo! Unfortunately, because of an ill-placed Reflect by Alakazam, I do end up losing against Blue in my first attempt. I've made it so far just to lose at the very end, only 2 turns away from victory. But I'm not about to go through the Elite Four again, so let's just restart this battle. I use the same strategies we've learned throughout the entire game, and everything is pretty solid, with the exception of a possible Psychic crit from Alakazam, or another Reflect. Neither happens, which effectively guarantees my victory. And so, for the last time, Blue is utterly defeated, and I have become the Kanto champion using only Viridian Forest Pokemon. Growing up, I was never a huge fan of these bug Pokemon, mainly because I knew their stats were pretty crappy. But as an adult who still plays Pokemon, I've come to appreciate them a bit more. Granted, they're even better in future generations when actually useful bug moves are introduced, but it was nice to show that even a weak bug can still surprise you with victory. Of course, I can't discount Raichu, he was a vital part of my team too. Before we take off, I'd like to thank my YouTube and Patreon members for helping support this channel and content like this. Go ahead and check it out if you're able. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again in the next region.